Today's here, UMA. Today's training video is going to be focusing on some defensive footwork to allow you to strike while you're being defensive at the same time, to allow you to strike while you evade, okay? So I'm gonna start with our basic fight stance like so, okay? Not too far apart, hands up nice and high. Okay, if I'm doing a K1 or a kickboxing stance, it's gonna be a closed stance with my hands here, crocodile in the water. All you see is my eyes, yeah? Okay, if I'm doing a Muay Thai, my knuckles are coming up towards my eyebrows, then I'm extending my hands out a bit. So if I'm doing a long guard, this is my short guard here, okay? And this is my long guard here. I personally prefer a long guard, okay? So my knuckles are by my eyebrows, extending my arms off like so, okay? So now I'm gonna retreat. So as I retreat, I'm gonna step with my back foot and drag my lead foot, but as I step, I'm going to throw my jab, and then as I drag my lead foot, I'm gonna throw my cross. Now I don't wanna drag my feet so that I become very narrow. I wanna drag my feet back into my stance. So I'm getting very wide and then back into my stance, okay? So I'm going jab, cross. I'm stepping and dragging. I'm stepping and dragging. Okay, I'm stepping and dragging the foot. I'm throwing my jab and my cross. I'm throwing my jab and my cross. Throwing my jab and my cross. Okay? Now, I personally don't prefer this footwork for Muay Thai because I feel as though when I am stepping back, I'm making myself so wide that it's very hard for me to shield or defend myself against anything, okay? So I prefer the next set of footwork that we're gonna work on. So the next set of footwork is I'm going to step with my lead leg back and make myself narrow for a split second, and then my rear foot is gonna come back into my stance again, okay? So I'm gonna step narrow and then I'm gonna step back. I'm gonna step with my lead foot and step with my rear foot, okay? I'm gonna step with my lead and step with my rear. I'm gonna step with my lead, I'm gonna step with my rear, step with my lead, step with my rear. Now, when done fast, you have a little bit of a shuffle, okay? So I'm gonna shuffle back, shuffle back, shuffle back, shuffle back, shuffle back, shuffle back, okay? So now I'm going to add in my punches into that. So I'm gonna start slow by stepping and punching with my jab, getting narrow, and then stepping and punching with my cross, okay? I'm stepping with my lead and throwing my lead, and I'm stepping with my rear and throwing my rear. Now it looks very strange moving slowly, but in fast motion, it's jab, cross. Now what happens is when that back foot hits the ground, your cross is extending and you got a lot of power into that hand, making them stop attacking you. Causing them to cease and desist their aggressiveness. Okay, so bang, bang, jab, cross, coming back around, going jab, cross, step, 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 step. Okay, so now the last thing we're going to add on to that is we're going to throw our rear kick at the end of that. Okay, so if you try it out with the step and slide stance, when I step and I slide, now when I want to throw my kick, I feel very stiff and not in a good place to throw a kick. It's not horrible, but it's not great. But when I step like so, my foot, as it hits the ground and I make contact, wants to bounce off the ground. It wants to bounce off the ground, allowing me to immediately throw a kick. So if I do it with a step and slide, it feels, excuse me, if I do it with a step and slide, boom, boom, feels a little uncomfortable, but if I skip back, the kick comes out very nicely, if you can see that. And if you try it out, you might feel the same thing I feel. Into the kick, okay? Bang, bang, boom. Stepping, stepping, and throwing my kick, okay? Jab, cross, kick, jab, cross, kick, stepping, stepping, kicking, okay? So these are some ways to move backwards while striking. Most people can hit moving forwards. Pretty much everybody who practices Muay Thai can hit standing still. Okay, but hitting on the retreat and being a defensive fighter is not very common and needs to be worked on way more often. So work on this at home, guys. You got plenty of time to work on this. Just takes a little bit of space. Thank you so much.